How's it going, everyone? I'm Aaron, and this is Hideki Kamiya Productions, giving you a game review. Now, I have played numerous different types of titles out there since I've actually started playing video games, and I have been blessed to actually find a few of them, a few titles to be actually on my favorite list. And one of them being Devil May Cry, created by Hideki Kamiya, actually is on the top tier list of games that I just love of all time. So when he decided that he was going to come out with another title that was going to involve another concept I am incredibly passionate about, dealing with witchcraft, my mind was through the roof. So I am so grateful to have been blessed with the title and series known as Bayonetta, and have finally had my chance to play its conclusion in Bayonetta 3. So when we think about the concept of what truly is the heart of a Bayonetta title, we have to realize that the series itself is very much a story that involves a woman who at first didn't understand who she was, but had such a drive towards her convictions and goals that it manifests itself in her outstanding battle skills and incredible drive as a warrior. Of course, the series itself centers around the titular character Bayonetta, otherwise known as Cereza, as she battles her way through hordes of angelic beings and incredible demigods and outer gods of destruction, as well as threats that threaten her, and also the multiverse in and of itself. From, I guess, his humble beginnings, Reza, who was at first and through a form of amnesia, didn't understand who she or her true origins really relied in. Otherwise, from other than the notion that she was a witch and followed the path of what is known as the Umbran Witch path, which is a coven of sisters who battle angelic entities with the hordes of hell at their side as companions in an attempt to try and reach a balance with their counterparts being the Lumen Sages, who in fact has its origins deep within Bayonetta's own history. From there, she moves on and finds other individuals that have an aspect in her life as well, being that of the reporter Luca, who at first was an individual that only came in and out of her life through comedic terms, having his own times being that he originally felt that he was that Bayonetta was some form of antagonistic character, only bent on mass destruction, and realizing that she was very much the hero of their entire story. And then also with her rival slash sister slash best friend figure being that of the awesome witch known as John, who serves as almost like a I would say not a sidekick, but definitely a partner in crime, so to speak, and a lot of her endeavors. Who, in very much in a second aspect of the series, Bayonetta 2, ended up being a titular plot point of trying to save her from, unfortunately, the fate that quite a few Umbran witches face, with that being once you serve hell, eventually your time comes due, and of course she had to go back into the depths of the darkness to try and retrieve her and save her Umbran sister. And now finally in Bayonetta 3, with all the horrors and of the past and her entire life coming into its final conclusion, has yet to face her most greatest foe yet, time itself, and the very concepts of all of reality breaking as one, as a greater threat looms over the horizon that threatens all of existence, especially Cereza's as well. Now, speaking on the concept of who truly Cereza slash Bayonetta truly is, we have to understand the type of writing that went into this particular character that Hideki saw fit to install within her. Again, looking back at another character that Hideki has created, that of the double hunter known as Dante, Bayonetta also serves as a female counterpart in her own self, but yet definitely her own being, as in the concept of, yes, she is a smart aleck and super hayakaki individual, but the thing that really sets her apart from quite a few other video game protagonists, or at least characters that were created by the by Hideki himself, comes into the concept of how well she plays on the concept of her own being, that of being a female heroine and fighting these outrageous and crazy, incredibly horrific yet beautifully gothic creatures in themselves, with her own sensuality that very much plays at the heart of her being. She's very playful. She's very, at one moment, and playful, and at the same time completely unpredictable in certain respects, and certain and how she approaches certain tactics and situations. She's very much an individual who likes to who plays the room towards her own strengths, and almost always ends up being a situation in which is enjoyable for everybody to experience. She is very much the gift that continues to keep on giving. Now, of course, throughout the creation of the series of Bayonetta, she originally had her first voice actress, that being of Helena Taylor, but unfortunately was recast in Bayonetta 3 with Jennifer Hale. Now, there was a huge controversy that spawned around that, of course, and there's very much like movies and television, video games are no stranger with the concept of having to deal with a recasting and very beloved titular characters. And when it comes to the recasting of Helena Taylor with Jennifer Hale, I am incredibly happy to report that there was absolutely no real need for alarm, because Jennifer Hale completely knocks out the part. It's almost, this series does not miss a beat. If anything, she incredibly lifts up the action and allows the emotional depths that comes with it in this title, especially when you understand that this is the ending of one particular character's storyline, and she does do a well enough job realizing that concept. Now, along with Bayonetta, there is also a new character that's introduced in the series that will go later on serves as a new flagship if things are to be proven positive going forward. And that is, of course, the character known as Viola. Now, Viola very much seems as though she's the new kid on the block, the new witch on the game board that is very much following in the footsteps of Bayonetta, Jean, and even Luca to an extent. And with her unique gameplay style and her attitude and the way she acts in this particular outing, it's very much easy to understand where her true origins lie, and that is very much a very huge concept of her character going forward. That she is this amalgamation of individuals that preceded her, and hopefully will serve as her counterbalance and harmony through the melding of her core being going forward. Now, when talking about the concept of production value, and in this case, the way that the games are developed, the very meat and greedy aspect of the Bayonetta series has always been the concept of a hack and slash fighter, and definitely that is something that is carried forward from Bayonetta 1 all the way to Bayonetta 3. But I am so impressed with all the new bells and whistles and tricks and tips that goes into this particular title alone. Specifically talking, again, this is a hack and slash game where you have multiple different weapon styles and fighting systems that are incorporated with with all the mental capacity of understanding the bells and whistles and tricks and tips with all the unique weapons in that series. But then you have the skill trees that goes with them, and it's very complicated at first, but if you're a seasoned player, you can go work with it. There's the concepts of building on unique ammunition and healing items that in this particular series is done through a series of concoction or taking found objects or ingredients out in the world and mix them together to create new powerful items that you can use to implant and empower Bayonetta or whatever character you're playing at the time. But one of the core aspects of Bayonetta's gameplay actually does revolve with the concept of witch time, which is a unique ability that allows players to utilize Bayonetta's witch-like powers and abilities to slow down time with a perfect precision of dodging against different enemy attacks, and in order to turn the tables on on those enemies and incorporate incredibly complex moves and incredible weapon attacks. But then you have also the concept of torture techniques, which are really cool finishers that are implemented with each unique style and weaponry. Those types of finishers. This new series in Bayonetta 3 incorporates the concept of Demon Slave and Demon Masquerade, which basically utilizes the demonic enemies that or demonic helpers of Bayonetta in this series. Not just on a cutscene level, but actually in a gameplay level of manifesting them into the battlefield to fight along with you or to take part of their particular essence and their abilities and incorporate them into Bayonetta for even more devastating and demonically delicious techniques. Now, on the flip side, a lot of those, again, the Witch Time or Demon Slave or Demon Masquerade are concepts that you really see that's uniquely played with basically Bayonetta or with the character known as John in certain particular situations. The character of Viola has very much her own unique gameplay style that is very reminiscent of other characters that were utilized in other works, such as from Hideki. I'm thinking in my mind, right off the bat, the character of Virgil, Dante's twin brother, in the corporation of utilizing a katana-like attack, but very much plays in her own right, kind of almost similar towards Nero in that series, where she's very brash and very vulgar, or not as well refined as certain other characters like Bayonetta herself, where it's almost she's a street fighter. So a lot of her techniques incorporate that I would say naivete or amateur aspect within her, and also these cool darts she likes to throw around as well. She utilizes the concept of witch time, but not nearly as refined as it is done in Bayonetta or John. But then again, once you get to certain parts of the story, there are elements that increases her her enjoyability as a player going forward. Then you have the concept of different secret missions that you can take on, depending on the objects you find in the world, thanks to the witch tears that you collect. However, there is actually one other aspect in Bayonetta 3 that I found very intriguing, and actually I couldn't believe for the life of me they would actually incorporate this into this game, is the mini game system that is done through John's variation of the gameplay, where it very much takes a complete detour from the original game style of the game to incorporate concepts that were introduced in older video games, such as this 2D runner-based style, which at first you would think was complete a throwaway or a gimmicky aspect that really wouldn't make sense, but it kind of actually does, especially in the context of the story, and it was very, very enjoyable. If anything I would have to say against it is I wish that just like those runners, I wish, or at least this gimmicky aspect of understanding of throwback towards older style gameplay, that we would incorporate even more aspects of different other game styles to join it as well, such as different kinds of shooters or different kinds of over shoulder situations. But all in all, I actually enjoyed it, so I thought it was actually well done. So when I look at Bayonetta 3 from an aesthetic point of view, I understand that this game basically, unfortunately, which is actually one of those concepts where I do have to break it down a little bit, is that this game very much does not necessarily change stylistically from game to game to game. It's very much the same kind of aesthetic. However, that being said, a lot of the heavy lifting comes from the unique anime aesthetic that comes with it, as well as the unique story music that incorporates it, which is this cool, funky jazz, almost hyper Japanese rock band aspect that goes with it, and as well as these classical elements. Also, that's very much hallmark from when the series being home with Devil May Cry and stuff like that. So I'm very much getting with it. again, I absolutely love the characters of Bayonetta and Jean and Luca, and their character models and designs are really cool. But again, it's very much a hallmark of those original. Almost feels as though this is a couple consoles back in a lot of ways. Feeling like we're still in the PS3 or PlayStation 2 era. So I'm like, we could have definitely did better on that aspect, but otherwise, we're not here just for the aesthetic value. We're here for the gameplay, and Bayonetta 3 definitely delivers almost entirely on that front. So, all in all, if I had to give Bayonetta any particular kind of score at all, I will definitely say that as far as endings go for Bayonetta's story, I would definitely have to say this was a great time out. And I look forward, if at all, we get to see more of it coming soon in the near future. But that is it, everybody. That was my review for Bayonetta 3. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. And hit that bell down there at the bottom for notifications. We would like to hear more from you. Are you a fan of the Bayonetta series? Have you played any of the Bayonetta games? If so, tell me about it. Let's hear it. Let's talk about it. Oh, and also, please hit our social media platforms, because there's a lot of things we are able to say on certain concepts out there that we just can't have as a full-fledged view here. That's it. Bye.